How many times have you seen something like this in an ad?
You want natural, effective beauty products.
Cut through grease and grime the natural way.
The Natural Confectionery Company. No artificial colours, no artificial flavours.
Discover all the naturally moisturizing flavors of Burt's Bees Lip Balm.
This is a common technique used by advertisers to make their products seem better, healthier, or safer. And it works because it seems intuitive to us. I mean, how can something that's natural be bad for you, right? But as I'll demonstrate in this video, assuming that something is better simply because it's natural is not only a logical fallacy, it can be expensive, unhealthy, or in some cases even deadly. Hi everyone and welcome. My name is Luke and this is The Science Lens, where I show you how science can improve your critical thinking skills. Today I'm going to talk about the appeal to nature fallacy. Imagine you're walking down the supermarket aisle doing some shopping for a barbecue that you're hosting. You stop at the meat fridge and reach for a packet of hot dogs when out of the corner of your eye you see another pack. This pack has a green sticker that says all natural, cured with celery powder. So you look at the ingredients list for the first pack of hot dogs and you see that those are cured with sodium nitrite. Which one would you feel more comfortable feeding to your friends at the barbecue? If you said the celery powder option, you're definitely not alone. We tend to think of eating natural products as healthier, and a lot of the time it wouldn't occur to us that eating something as harmless as celery could be dangerous. But in this case, it actually wouldn't have made a difference. You see, the celery powder used as a preservative in the second pack of hot dogs contains nitrates, and these are actually converted to nitrites, including sodium nitrite, in the body, meaning that the quote-unquote naturally cured hot dogs are just as likely to increase your cancer risk as the regular ones. Snake venom, poison dart frogs, or death cap mushrooms are all as natural as sunlight. So assuming that something is harmless, healthy, safe, or good just because it's natural isn't just a logical fallacy, it could get you killed. But on the other hand, there are plenty of examples of when the natural option is certainly better. For example, eating whole grains, fruits, and vegetables is 1,000,000 times healthier than eating ultra-processed foods. Assuming that something is bad because it's natural is the same as assuming that it's good because it's natural. So how do we avoid the appeal to nature fallacy without disregarding all of the great benefits that nature has to offer? Well, for that, we need to think like a scientist. So how can we use scientific thinking to overcome the appeal to nature fallacy? 1. Look at the evidence. When it comes to science, the first thing we need to do is find some hard evidence. Rather than accepting something as healthy or good because it's natural, we need to perform tests and gather data to support or refute our beliefs. An example of this might be the raw food diet. Now, this diet is based on the idea that eating uncooked food is more natural and therefore healthier. But when scientists gather data on the health outcomes of people eating the raw food diet, the evidence shows that they are more likely to be deficient in vitamin B12 and have lower bone density than people on other diets. 2. Consider the intended use. Just because something is good for one thing doesn't make it safe or effective for another. An example would be using glycerine in vape pens. Now, glycerine is a naturally occurring molecule, which is essential for forming fats. We all eat it every day, but it's not supposed to be in our lungs. This unnatural use of a natural substance can cause problems ranging from lung irritation to an increased risk of cancer. This one reminds me of that Seinfeld episode where Jerry accidentally drops a Junior Mint into a patient on an operating table. And when he tells George about the story, this is what George says.
Well, I guess it can't hurt them. People eat pounds of those things.
Yes, they eat them. They don't put them next to vital organs in their abdominal cavity.
3. Consider the amounts you're using. Another factor to consider is how much of the substance that you're using. So as we all know, it's possible to get too much of a good thing. For example, fruit juice. It can take 3 to 5 oranges just to make 1 glass of juice. So when you drink that glass of OJ, you're getting 5 oranges worth of sugar without any of the fiber from the fruit. So even with oranges, which are both natural and healthy, it's possible to consume them in unhealthy quantities. 4. Evaluate the risks. Sometimes we might be in a situation that doesn't warrant further investigating because the risks are just too low. So for example, a friend once told me that I could cure a headache by rubbing lavender oil on my temples. I wasn't sure if it would work, but lavender oil is cheap and safe, so I figured I'd give it a go. But for some situations, the risks are just too high to choose an option with limited data supporting it. A cancer diagnosis or a bacterial infection might create serious problems unless treated with unnatural solutions like chemotherapy or antibiotics, respectively. Now, I want to reiterate that although these are examples of when natural does not equal good, we still need to keep an open mind about natural products, because life on Earth is marvelous and complex, and it almost certainly contains solutions to many of the problems that we face today. The point of this video is not that we should write off natural products completely, but instead base our choices on evidence and not assumptions or tricks of advertising. By thinking this way, we can find products that are not only natural, but safe and effective as well. Because we all want to be safe and healthy, it's only natural. Well, that's it from me for today, but if you'd like some resources to help you practice the concepts that I covered, I recommend that you check out my store on TPT. There you'll find a range of worksheets that help teach critical thinking in the science classroom. Also, don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you'd like to see more videos like this one. And finally, I used a heap of resources to put together this video today, and they're all linked in the description below. So I recommend that you check those out as well if you'd like more information. But for now though, that's it from me. Thanks for watching.